Once upon a time. The night was velvet and warm, with a sleepy breeze tiptoeing through the curtains of Luna's bedroom. Her room glowed with the usual cozy clutter. Paper stars strung across the ceiling, a nightlight shaped like a mushroom, and shelves stacked with books about clouds that wore socks and suns that took naps. But something felt off. Luna sat cross-legged on her bed, blinking at the empty space where her favorite sock should have been. Not just any sock, the glittery, star-shaped one. The one she wore every single night on her left foot, because she liked how it caught the moonlight and made her feel just a little bit magical. It was the kind of sock that felt like a spell when you put it on. And now, it had simply vanished. She checked under the pillow. Not there. She flipped the blanket. Nope. She even crawled halfway under her bed and poked around her pile of plush creatures, but there was no sign of it. Her other sock, its twin, lay sadly on the floor like a question mark. Luna sat back with a little huff. "Where do socks go when they vanish?" she asked aloud, half hoping the mushroom lamp would answer. Didn't. Instead, the night outside seemed to grow quieter, softer, as if holding its breath. Luna pulled on a plain sock instead. But it wasn't the same. She curled into bed, eyes flickering toward the window where the moon hung low and lazy. Something in her chest tugged gently, like a thread being pulled by invisible fingers. And soon, with one last glance at the stars above, Luna drifted into dreams. The lavender bushes outside swayed gently, brushing against the window like sleepy fingers saying goodnight. Inside, the room had fallen still, except for Luna's breathing, deep and even, and the quiet rustle of dreams beginning to unfurl. In her sleep she stirred. The dream didn't begin like most. No sudden swirl, no tumble through clouds. Instead, it crept in gently, like mist on tiptoe. Luna found herself sitting at the foot of her bed again. Only now everything shimmered slightly, as if reality had been dusted with moon sugar. She stood, her bare feet sinking into a floor that felt like velvet mixed with marshmallow. Her blanket floated beside her like a cape, and her nightlight had grown wings. The paper stars above swayed, humming softly. No words, just notes that made her feel like something important was about to begin. Luna turned toward the window and gasped. Outside, the sky had unraveled. Not in a scary way, but like a great spool of thread unspooling across the night. Silver strands crisscrossing the sky in careful stitches. The stars weren't still anymore. They twinkled like blinking eyes, or perhaps winks, as if they knew she'd come. "Where am I?" Luna whispered. The answer came not as words but as a feeling, like the way a lullaby feels on your skin. The air was full of knowing. It smelled faintly of lavender and something older, like stardust and bedtime promises. She stepped forward, through the window without needing to open it, and onto a path of stitched light. The silver thread shimmered beneath her toes, winding forward into the great dark. Somewhere just ahead, the sky itself was waiting. The sky didn't look quite like the one Luna knew from her window. It was deeper, darker, but not scary. The darkness here was soft, like thick ink with sparkles stirred in. And it sang. Not in words, but in low, comforting hums that filled the space around her like a weighted blanket for her thoughts. Each star she passed along the stitched path gave off a gentle pulse, like it was breathing. They didn't twinkle randomly either. No, they blinked together. Slow, deliberate, as if whispering secrets in a rhythm only they understood. Luna tiptoed along the thread, pausing now and then to peer into the starry distance. Above her, below her, everywhere was sky. She was walking through it, inside it, and somehow it was walking with her. The stars weren't alone either. Tiny spark lanterns floated past her, trailing little tails like comets. And once she even thought she saw a cloud with ears napping quietly in the crook of a moonbeam. Everything here seemed alive, dreaming in its own way. And then she heard it. A voice, small, uncertain, floating in from somewhere further down the thread. Not words yet. Just the sound of someone thinking out loud. The way you do when you're trying to feel brave but aren't quite there yet. Luna's heart tugged in that same direction. She kept walking. The silver thread curved gently to the left, past a constellation that looked suspiciously like a banana peel. And then, There it was. A distant shape, barely more than a glimmer, sitting at the end of a little loop in the path. And something familiar, something glittery. She squinted. Was that her sock? Luna quickened her steps, the silver thread lighting up beneath her feet with each gentle step. The closer she got, the more certain she became. That shimmer, that gentle glint of silver and soft gold, it was hers. Her sock, perched at the very edge of a floating stitch loop in the sky. It glowed faintly, curled snugly around something or someone. Luna slowed. The glittery sock was wrapped like a tiny scarf around a small round star, not much bigger than her own fist. It pulsed dimly like a candle about to go out, and it was trembling. The star didn't notice her at first. It sat there quietly, swaying slightly on the thread, humming to itself in a melody that sounded a bit off-key, but very sincere. Luna knelt beside it, careful not to startle. "That's my sock," she said gently, not unkindly, just true. The star squeaked and turned sharply, nearly rolling off the thread. Oh no, I didn't mean. Oh dear, I didn't know anyone would follow." Luna tilted her head. "You borrowed it." The star looked down, its glow dimming. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take it forever. It was just so warm, so sparkly. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I wore something that glowed, I might feel a little brighter too." It clutched the sock tighter, looking guilty and small. Luna didn't answer right away. She just looked at the star, really looked. Its edges flickered with doubt. Its shimmer sagged with sadness. And its tiny hands clutched her sock the way she clutched her pillow when nightmares came knocking. She exhaled softly, letting the silence do the talking for a moment. Then she sat beside it. They sat together on the glowing thread, suspended in the gentle hush of the stitched sky. All around them, stars blinked patiently, like distant relatives watching from cozy windows. The little star peeked at Luna shyly. "I'm not like the others," it said, voice barely louder than a falling feather. "They sparkle so easily. They laugh in bursts of light. Me. Flicker. Fade. I'm the one that blinks out during lullabies." Luna picked at a loose thread on her pajama sleeve. "But you're still here," she said after a pause. "That means something, right?" The star blinked once, dimly, then again slightly brighter. "I guess. But when I saw your sock I don't know. I thought if I wore it I'd feel braver. And I did. For a little while. It felt like it was whispering, 'You can do it, right into my light.'" Luna smiled softly. "That sock does that. I wear it when I have spelling tests, or thunder, or dentist Tuesdays." The star nodded solemnly. "But now, I don't want to give it back." It looked at her with wide, honest eyes. "I need it." Luna's chest tightened. The stars overhead flickered slower, listening. She understood. Not just about the sock, but about feeling small. About hoping something, a trinket, a lucky pebble, a glittery sock, could carry your courage for you. But also, she missed it. That sock was a part of her nighttime rhythm. Left foot, glittery warmth, dreams tucked in. Could she really just let it go? "I don't want to take it from you," Luna said gently. "But maybe. There's a way we can both have what we need." The star blinked. "Like what?" Luna looked up at the sky, where silver threads gleamed like ideas waiting to be stitched. Luna leaned back slightly, balancing on the glowing thread as if it were the softest of swings. The stars around them shifted, almost curious, their blinking slowing to a thoughtful rhythm. She pointed to her sock, now wrapped snugly around the star's round little middle. "It helped you feel brave, right?" The star nodded, its light pulsing in agreement. "And I love it because it makes me feel like I'm part of the sky," she continued. "Like I'm connected to something, glowing." The star gave a small smile, faint but growing. "So maybe," Luna said, tapping a finger against her chin, "you don't need to wear the sock forever. Maybe it was never about the sock." The star blinked, puzzled. "But I feel brave with it. I shine with it." Luna leaned closer. "But is it really the sock making you shine? Or is it just reminding you that you already can?" The star was quiet, very quiet. It looked down at the sock, then at its hands, then at the silver thread below, glowing beneath both of them. Then, faintly, it tried something. It unwrapped the sock, just a little, and closed its eyes. And blinked. A soft, new light bloomed around it. Still gentle, still a little flickery, but no longer trembling. It peeked open one eye. That was me. Luna grinned. That was you. The sock rested now in the star's lap like a gift between friends. The stars nearby pulsed slowly, almost proudly, as if nodding in approval. I still want to be brighter, the star whispered. You will, Luna said. With practice. And maybe, with a little help. She reached toward the starlit sky, where threads shimmered like possibilities waiting to be sown. The star scooted a little closer, still clutching the sock like a comfort blanket, though its glow had grown noticeably steadier. Luna could feel the warmth radiating now, gentle like a campfire on a quiet night. Not hot, not boastful, just enough to be known. So, the star said cautiously, if I give it back, will I fade again? Luna considered that. The stitched thread beneath her shimmered faintly, as if reminding her that light could travel both ways. I don't think you'll fade, she said slowly. You might flicker. But that's just what stars do when they're figuring things out. The star tilted its head. But what if the others laugh? Then they've forgotten what it's like to flicker, she replied gently. Which means you'll be the one who remembers. And that makes you even brighter. The little star sat with that for a while. It didn't nod, didn't blink, just breathed, soft pulses of dimming and glowing, as it held the sock in its lap and rocked slowly on the silver thread. Luna watched in silence, sensing that her words needed room to settle. Finally, the star looked up. I think I want to try shining on my own. Luna smiled but didn't reach for the sock. She waited, and after a long, brave moment, the star unwrapped it completely, folding it with tender care. It held it out with both hands, still slightly trembling. I think it misses you too, it whispered. Luna took the sock gently. It shimmered more than ever now, still hers but touched with something new. You helped it glow brighter, she said, slipping it into her pocket. The star gave a soft laugh. Maybe it helped me too. All around them, the stars whispered in approval, like lullabies stitched from silver. The stars above shimmered in slow applause, their light gentle and proud. Luna and the little star sat side by side, their legs, or in the star's case, whatever counted as legs, dangling over the edge of the silver thread. Now that the sock was folded away and the star was glowing on its own, the sky felt different, brighter in places, quieter in others, as if it had been holding its breath and could finally exhale. The little star looked up. Do you think I could ever shine like the big ones? Luna followed its gaze to the grand stars hanging high above, ancient, strong, glowing like hearthfires that had never gone out. She thought for a moment. Maybe not exactly like them, she said honestly. But maybe you're not meant to shine like anyone else. The star blinked. Then how am I supposed to shine? Like you. That answer settled over the thread like dew. The star seemed to consider it deeply, nodding once with a seriousness far too big for its small body. Then it tilted slightly toward Luna, its glow softening into something cozy. I want to learn how to stitch light like you, it said suddenly. The way you walked the thread and found me. That kind of glowing. Luna chuckled. I didn't really stitch anything. I just followed the hums. You felt your way here, the star said. That's stitching. Threading through the dark until something shines again. Luna hadn't thought of it like that. But now that the star said it, maybe she had been stitching in a way. Maybe kindness was a thread. And light was what came from tying things gently together. Together, they sat a while longer, wrapped in starlight and silence, until a silvery voice called from above. Well, shall we ask the moon? The voice had floated down like a breeze with feathers, soft, playful, ancient. Luna and the little star looked up in unison. Above them, descending slowly like a chandelier unhooked from the sky, was the moon. Not the bright, crisp coin she'd seen from her window. This moon was sleepy-eyed and round, draped in a shawl of thin clouds and stitched with glowing seams that pulsed gently as it moved. Its face was kind, if a little lopsided, with a smile that knew more than it let on. "Little ones," the moon drawled in a warm, syrupy voice, "you've stirred the thread paths tonight." Luna blinked up. "Are you real?" The moon chuckled. "As real as bedtime stories and borrowed socks." The little star gave a bashful wave. "I borrowed something I shouldn't have, and gave it back when you were ready," the moon said, nodding. "That matters." Luna stepped forward. "We were wondering, is there a way to help stars glow without needing to take light from someone else?" The moon's smile deepened, its glow turning golden at the edges. "Oh, sweet spark. Stars forget this sometimes, but light is meant to be shared, not stolen." A whisper, a warm glance, a stitched kindness. Each one adds glow. The star looked thoughtful. "So I can glow, even without the sock?" "With practice," said the moon. "And maybe a little help from those who believe in flickering things." Luna looked down at her sock, now pulsing gently in her palm, touched with stardust and memory. "Then maybe we can stitch something new. Something shared." The moon closed its heavy eyelids, content. "That," it murmured, "is how constellations are born." The thread beneath their feet shimmered as if approving. The sky was ready to be stitched anew. The moon hovered lazily above, like a great silver spool unwinding light as thread. Around Luna and the little star, the sky responded, not with fireworks or fanfare, but in subtler ways. Stars aligned in new patterns, some blinking in slow rhythm, others pulsing like sleepy hearts. Luna knelt down and pulled the sock from her pocket. It still shimmered, though the glow had changed. It was warmer now, deeper, as if it remembered kindness. She held it up. "We could make something with this," she said, "but not just for one of us." The little star twirled, leaving behind a trace of sparkles like chalk dust in the air. "Like a light we both wear. More like a light that belongs to both of us, even when we're apart." The moon watched, its eyelids at half-mast, clearly pleased. With gentle fingers, Luna began unraveling a corner of the sock. It didn't resist. The glittering thread came loose easily, curling into a soft strand of silver and gold. The star offered a tendril of its own glow, which looked like fog dipped in honey. Together they wove the pieces into something new, a tiny scarf, long enough to wrap once around a star, with threads long enough to hold the memory of a girl. They stitched in silence, save for the hums of the sky and the soft sighs of the moon. When they finished, the star placed the scarf over its shoulders. It pulsed, not in fear this time but in pride. Its glow wasn't borrowed anymore. It was born from something real, trust. Luna held the remaining piece of sock in her hand. A simple corner, glowing faintly like the aftertaste of a wish. They looked at each other and smiled. No one had to lose light for someone else to shine. The little star floated upward slightly, buoyed by its new glow. The scarf it wore shimmered with shared memory. Part stardust, part glittery thread, part something even softer, understanding. "I feel warm," the star whispered, a little surprised. "Not because of the sock," Luna teased gently. The star laughed, a real bright sound that echoed through the stitched sky like a skipping stone across a still pond. "No, think it's me. I think I am warm." Nearby stars stirred, drawn closer by the light. Not in envy but in quiet curiosity. One or two blinked a greeting. A particularly round one even performed a little twirl. "They see you now," Luna said. The star beamed literally. Its glow swelled just a little more, no longer afraid of being seen. "Will I forget?" it asked, turning to her. "What it felt like, being dim, being scared." Luna thought of her own quiet nights, those thunderstorm evenings, those hard mornings with tangled hair and untied shoes. "Maybe," she said. "But maybe that's okay. That's why we share stories. So the remembering doesn't have to be lonely. The star nodded, tucking the ends of the scarf close to its core. Will you remember me? Luna opened her hand. In her palm, the last corner of her sock flickered like a tiny galaxy. Every time I wear this. They sat again on the silver thread, side by side, beneath the weightless hush of sky. The moon swayed slightly above them, humming something deep and ancient and kind. The stars blinked in rhythm once more, except for one, who blinked a little differently now. Not out of sync, but because it had finally found its own beat. And it was beautiful. Eventually, the moon gave a great yawn, a yawn so wide and slow it sent gentle ripples through the stitched thread beneath their feet. Even the stars seemed to sigh in unison, like an audience at the end of a lullaby. It's almost time, the moon murmured, voice curling like mist around them. Luna sat upright. Time for what? To wake, the moon replied simply, smiling with one drowsy eye still closed. Your bed is calling and your world is starting to stir. The little star turned toward her quickly. Wait, does that mean you'll be gone? That you won't come back? Luna felt a flicker of sadness flutter in her chest, like a moth caught behind a curtain. I don't know, she admitted. Dreams are funny like that. Sometimes they come back. Sometimes they leave something behind. The star looked down at its glowing scarf. Like this. Luna nodded. Exactly like that. They sat quietly for a beat, the moment stretched out in silver thread. Then the star reached out, carefully, shyly, and placed a fingertip of light on Luna's palm, where the sock's corner still glowed. For you, the star whispered. So you remember that glowing doesn't always mean burning bright. Sometimes it just means not hiding. The thread beneath Luna's feet began to shimmer more intensely now, tugging softly like a tide drawing her back. She stood slowly, sock piece in hand, heart oddly full. I'll look for you, she promised. In every blink of light, every hum in the sky. The star nodded, its smile now steady, its glow unflickering. And as the silver path began to rise beneath her like a ribbon on the wind, Luna started the journey home, with light in her pocket, and a new constellation behind her. The silver thread beneath Luna's feet curled like a sleepy ribbon, lifting her upward and backward through the stitched sky. It wasn't a rush. It was more like floating on a dream's last breath, gentle, warm, unhurried. As she drifted, she passed familiar stars again, now blinking with new shapes and meanings. One winked at her. Another hummed as she passed. Even the one that looked suspiciously like a banana peel gave a quiet twirl of approval. Her body was light, but her heart was full. Not heavy, just full. Like a satchel carrying a story you'll never forget, even if you never quite tell it the same way again. Behind her, the little star waved, its scarf catching the breeze of dreams. It didn't look small anymore. Not brighter than the others necessarily, but solid. Confident. Like it had remembered what it was made of. Luna clutched the glowing sock corner in her palm as the wind began to change. The sky around her deepened in color. Less silver now, more blue. Soft blue. Morning blue. The moon, growing faint above, whispered one last thing before vanishing into light. Don't be afraid to flicker. Even fireflies do. And then, with a sudden hush, the thread beneath her dissolved. Not with fear. Not with noise. Just gone. She was weightless for one small second, suspended in between stars and blankets, between dreams and waking. And then, her eyes fluttered open. The hum of her room greeted her first. The quiet whir of her mushroom nightlight. The tick of the clock. The breeze through the lavender bush outside her window. Luna blinked slowly, unsure if she'd left the sky behind, or if maybe, just maybe, a little of it had followed her home. The morning light filtered through Luna's curtains, buttery and slow, spilling across her bed like a yawn stretching into the day. Her room was just as she'd left it. Plush creatures toppled over one another on the rug, books tilted on shelves like sleepy buildings, and the paper stars still swayed gently overhead. She sat up slowly, as if her limbs were still stitched to clouds. And then she noticed it. At the foot of her bed, Right where she always left them were her socks. Both of them. Her heart leapt, then softened. Because the one on the left, the sock, wasn't exactly the same anymore. It glowed faintly, just the way it had in the dream. Not like a flashlight or a fire. More like moonlight remembered on skin. A shimmer that pulsed gently when she touched it. Not hot, not cold, just known. She held it to her chest and closed her eyes. Inside the fabric, woven so delicately it could have been missed by anyone else, was a single silver thread. Not stitched by machine. Not even by hand. Dream thread. And the glow. It wasn't from glitter. It was from a story. The little star's light. And her own. She slipped on the sock and felt the warm rush of memory. Not loud, not blaring, but like a whispered secret finding its way back home. The other sock wriggled in her hand, as if wanting its turn. Okay, Luna giggled, slipping it on too. She stood slowly, stretching toward the ceiling, feeling taller than usual, like she still carried a little sky inside her. And maybe she did. Because stars don't always live far away. Some hide in socks, some sleep in scarves, and some glow brightest the morning after a really good dream. Luna padded quietly across her room, each step soft against the rug, her glittery sock glowing just enough to leave faint kisses of light behind. She stood by the window and peeked out. The lavender bushes swayed below, just as they always did. But somehow they looked taller now, like they had been listening during the night and were still thinking about what they'd heard. She pressed her nose to the glass. The sky was a pale watercolor now, still smudged with stars that hadn't quite left yet. One of them, way off to the side where the stitched thread might have ended, flickered just once. Not a wink, not a blink. Beep, like a heartbeat from very, very far away. She smiled and whispered, "Good morning." The star didn't reply, but she didn't expect it to. Dreams didn't always talk after dawn, but sometimes they left behind signs, threaded into corners, tucked under pillows, stitched into the space between moments. Luna stepped away from the window and noticed something new. On her desk, where her favorite pencils and sticker sheets lay scattered like confetti, sat a folded piece of paper. No name, no stamp, just there. She picked it up, unfolded it slowly. Inside, a drawing. A tiny star with a scarf. And next to it, a girl in socks. One plain, one glowing. They were sitting on a silver thread, surrounded by stars. There were no words, but none were needed. Luna's chest filled with something warm and round and quietly proud. She tucked the drawing beneath her pillow, where good things go to rest. And as she pulled the covers up once more, just for a little morning nap, she whispered to no one in particular, "See you tonight." Luna's nap didn't last long, just enough to blur the edges of morning. When she woke again, the drawing was still under her pillow, and the sock still glowed, if only a little. The light seemed to ebb with her breath now, as if it had learned the rhythm of her. She reached for her sketchbook, the one with half-finished doodles and pages of cloud-shaped cats. On a fresh sheet, she began to draw. Not with great precision. Her stars were lopsided, her moon a bit grumpy, but with heart. She drew the thread path first, winding and silver, looping through the sky like a loose string waiting to be pulled. Then she added stars, not the perfect ones from books, but the real ones. Some shy, some bold, one wearing a scarf stitched from memory. And then she drew herself, tiny and pajama-clad, one sock glowing just like before. She paused, then added a small sentence at the bottom, in crooked crayon letters. "Even small stars can shine." Satisfied, she pinned the page to her wall, right above her bed. A reminder for every night after. Later, when her mom asked if she wanted to go outside or help bake cookies, Luna simply nodded and went barefoot. The sock had earned its rest today. But that night, that night she made sure to wear it again. She pulled it over her left foot as always, holding it just a moment longer than usual. It hummed softly when it touched her skin. Not a song exactly, but something close. A memory that hadn't forgotten her. As she slid under her blanket and looked out the window, the stars began blinking in familiar patterns. And one of them, one just a little offbeat, shone brighter than before. That night, Luna didn't fall asleep right away. She stayed nestled beneath her blanket, eyes open to the quiet shimmer of stars beyond her window. The sky felt different now, not just vast and beautiful but close, like a friend pressed against the other side of glass, breathing in time with her. She sat up, slipped quietly out of bed, and tiptoed across her room. At the windowsill, she opened her secret tin, the one shaped like a moon cookie with tiny dents where paint had flaked off, and pulled out a small stack of folded notes. Most were scribbles, "Dear Sky," or "Hello again, stars," or simply, "Are you still there?" She picked up a blank one and held her pencil gently. This time she didn't write much. "Hope the scarf is keeping you warm." She added a tiny star in the corner. Not fancy, just familiar. Then carefully she opened the window. The lavender bushes rustled in greeting, and the breeze carried the scent of nighttime flowers and something faintly metallic, like silver thread left out in the dew. Luna tucked the letter between the folds of curtain and glass, where dream things know how to find what's meant for them. "Good night," she whispered. The stars didn't answer in words, but one of them blinked twice in that slightly late rhythm she knew so well. A flicker that used to mean fear. Now it meant hello. She climbed back into bed, tucking her glowing sock beneath the covers like a secret. As her head met the pillow, the hush of dreams crept in again, warm and weightless. And somewhere out there, a small star in a scarf blinked back, listening. The days that followed were normal in the way magical days often are. Luna still brushed her teeth with too much toothpaste. She still got blueberry jam on her elbows at breakfast. But sometimes, when no one was watching, she'd glance up at the sky in the middle of the day, even when the stars were nowhere to be seen. She knew they were there, and she especially knew one of them was there. At night, the ritual stayed the same. Left foot first. The glittery sock still glowed softly when she pulled it on, less like a flashlight, more like a memory with warmth still tucked inside. One evening, while getting ready for bed, she caught sight of herself in the mirror. Striped pajamas, hair a mess, one glowing sock, and an idea bloomed. She rummaged through her drawers, found her sewing kit, the one meant for emergency button rescues, and began to work. Stitch by wobbly stitch, she sewed tiny silver stars onto her pajama sleeves. Just a few. They weren't perfect, but that wasn't the point. Each one reminded her of something. Blink. Scarf. A voice that flickered but didn't break. By the end of the week, her pajamas were speckled with stardust. Her own stitched constellations. Not to impress anyone. Not to shine brighter. Just to remember. One morning, her mom asked where all the silver thread had gone. Luna only smiled and shrugged. That night, after brushing her teeth and fluffing her pillow just so, she whispered a promise to the glowing sock. "I'll keep your light safe too." The sock pulsed gently like a nod under blankets. And outside, beyond the lavender bushes and chimney tops, a certain star blinked in return. Always a little offbeat. Always shining anyway. It became a quiet tradition. Nothing loud, nothing grand. Just Luna, her sock, and a sky that always seemed to listen a little more closely now. Each evening before sleep, she'd write a tiny letter. Not long ones, just a few lines. "I saw a cloud shaped like a dinosaur today. I was brave during show and tell. I missed you a little more than usual tonight." She folded each note into a star shape. Lumpy, sometimes crooked, but full of truth, and placed them on her windowsill like offerings. Some mornings they'd still be there. Some mornings they'd be gone. She never asked how. She didn't need to. One time a note returned. Not the same paper, but different. Glimmering, faintly translucent, like it had been folded from light itself. No words. Just a doodle. A tiny sock, and next to it, a smaller star with the biggest smile. She didn't show it to anyone. It lived in her dream tin now, nestled between glitter crumbs and the drawing from that very first morning. Sometimes, Luna wondered if the little star ever felt lonely again, or if it had found others to stitch scarves with. Or maybe, just maybe, it had begun to help other dim stars glow too. She hoped so. She liked to think her sock had started something bigger than itself. And in a way she had too. By being kind. By sharing light. By letting go and trusting that what mattered would come back in the ways it was meant to. The stars above blinked in quiet rhythm, never quite in sync, never quite apart. And one star, tucked in the corner of the sky, still blinked with that sweet, stubborn beat. The one that meant, still here, still glowing. The seasons shifted gently as they always do. Quiet changes that carried soft surprises. The lavender bushes grew tall and wild. The nights arrived sooner. The air cooled just enough to make pajamas feel extra comforting. Luna had grown too. Just a bit. Not taller so much as steadier. Her socks were getting small now, but she still wore the glittery one on her left foot every night. Even if the elastic had loosened. Even if the shimmer had faded to something only she could see. Because to Luna it still glowed. Not because it sparkled, but because it remembered. It remembered what it meant to hold a little light for someone else. And to give it back, gently, when the time came. And Luna remembered too. Not just the star. Not just the scarf. But the feeling of stitching something real into the sky. Now, when she closed her eyes at night, she didn't always dream of stitched threads or moons wrapped in cloud shawls. Sometimes her dreams were just quiet, like floating. But even in those quiet dreams, one beat always flickered faintly. That gentle rhythm. Not perfect, not proud, just brave. And whenever she awoke, the world seemed a little softer. The stars a little closer. The day a little lighter around the edges. Because once upon a time, a sock went missing. And what she found in its place was something much brighter. A star who didn't want to steal light anymore. A friendship stitched in silver. And the truth that kindness, real kindness, always leaves a thread behind. Something to follow home. Something that glows. So now, as your own blanket settles and the hush of sleep begins to hum, picture Luna beneath her paper stars. One sock glowing faintly beneath the covers. One hand tucked gently beneath her cheek. Outside, the sky breathes its slow, starlit rhythm, the same one it's always hummed. Only now, somewhere within it, there's a tiny beat that's just a little off, just a little brave. A small star, glowing in its own way. Not because it was told to, not because it borrowed someone else's shine, but because it learned that its flicker was enough. The moon is quiet now, a pillow in the sky. The silver threads of the dream path have curled themselves into soft loops. Not gone, just waiting. And the sock. Still there. Waiting at the foot of the bed, holding its quiet glow, like a promise stitched in light. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let your breath fall slow. You don't need to chase the stars tonight. They already know where you are. And maybe, if you listen closely, just before dreams take over, you'll hear the soft hum of a sky remembering kindness. Sleep well, little star. You glow too. End of script. Sweet dreams.